The truth is, this crisis is the inevitable result of 13 years of cutting corners, botched jobs, sticking plaster politics. It's the sort of thing you expect from cowboy builders, saying that everyone else is wrong, everyone else is to blame, protesting that they've done an effing good job, even as the ceiling falls in. The difference, Mr. Speaker, is that in this case, the cowboys are running the country. Mr. Speaker, Carmel College in Darlington was on the Labour's building list in 2010. They scrapped it, and now children there are in a crumbling school. Yeah. And on the one hand, we have him saying it's nothing to do with him. Yeah. On the other side, we have the facts. And there's a simple way to clear this up. Yeah. Why doesn't he commit to publish the requests from the Department of Education for the school rebuilding programme and what risks he was warned of before he turned them down?
Mr. Speaker, the honourable gentleman's now brought up twice the Labour school rebuildings programme. He's now brought it up twice. So let's just look at that and look at the facts surrounding that, because we do know the truth about that programme, Mr. Speaker, because the NAO, as he's called on, actually reviewed that programme later on. What did they find? They found that Labour's school rebuilding programme actually excluded 80% of schools. Next, what did they find? What did they find? That it was a third more expensive than it needed to be, needlessly wasting resources that have gone to schools. And Mr. Speaker, this is the worst bit. The worst bit is that programme, because now he's talking about the physical condition of schools, that programme only allocated funds solely on the basis of ideology, with no regard whatsoever to the physical condition of schools, Mr. Speaker. That's why the independent James Review described that programme as time-consuming and expensive, just like the Labour Party.
Oh, so now we're arguing about what happened in 2010 as a sort of distraction from...
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, at least I suppose you can commend the Tories for some decent sort of research work there. Though, if my memory serves me, that review that Sunak has just quoted at great length was commissioned by Michael Gove in order to prove that the thing was a disaster so that he could scrap it, which may explain why it was quite so damning. But yes, I mean, you know, I think Labour would have hoped... Starmer was 3-0 up at this stage, and you've got to say it's probably 3-3.
Yeah. Interestingly, just looking at the schools that Keir Starmer's choosing to highlight, so it was the one in Gravesend he mentioned to begin with, because that was the one which had fallen down. He then chose Wood Green, which is a school in the West Midlands in Wednesbury. And that last one he mentioned, Carmel College, I think, is in Darlington.
Could it be these are all marginal seats, Matthew?
I'm just putting it out there for people to do their own research and look into. But yeah, it's
Darlington certainly is.
Darlington is definitely one, and that's another. There's a political angle to this. That in tightly fought marginal seats, if you've got a school which has had to shut because of this, you know, it might not be making a big difference nationally, but they'll be having a right bun fight over it between now and the election.
They will, and it's a great opportunity for a good Labour candidate to make a big fuss and get on the front page of the local paper, and you know,
thanks to Keir Starmer raising it in the House of Commons. Correct. Okay, so that was question 4. I wonder which marginal seat the school is going to be in question number 4.
We don't want to start off with somebody leaving so early, because that's what's going to happen, Keir Starmer.
Well, Mr. Speaker, they want more, so let me continue. Ferryhill School in County Durham was on Labour's building list in 2010. They scrapped it, and now children there are in a crumbling school. The truth is, this crisis is the inevitable result of 13 years of cutting corners, botched jobs, sticking plaster politics. It's the sort of thing you expect from cowboy builders, saying that everyone else is wrong, everyone else is to blame, protesting that they've done an effing good job, even as the ceiling falls in. The difference, Mr. Speaker, is that in this case, the cowboys are running the country. Isn't he ashamed that after 13 years of Tory government, children are cowering under steel supports, stopping their classroom roof falling in?
Anymore. Just seriously, I will calm down. first session. I understand people are excited to be back at school.
Lindsay,
we expect better behaviour.
ticking off Tory MPs.
Well, Mr. Speaker, this is exactly the kind of political opportunism that we've come... Exactly the kind of opportunism that we've come to expect from Captain Hindsight over here. Before today, he's never once raised this issue with me across this dispatch box. It wasn't even worthy of a single...
It's the same for this side as well. Can I just say, we're going to have a calmer question times going forward. I want to hear the question, I want to hear the answer, just like your constituents, Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, before today, he never once raised this issue with me in Parliament. It wasn't even worthy of a single mention in his so-called landmark speech on education this summer. And if we'd listened to him, our kids would have been off school and locked down for longer. It's as simple as that. He talks about 13 years. Well, let's see what happened. When we came into office, 2/3 of schools were good and outstanding. Now it's 90%, Mr. Speaker. We introduced the pupil premium to get more funding to the most disadvantaged pupils, Mr. Speaker. Today, they are 75% more likely to go to university. And as a result of our reforms, we now have the best readers in the Western world, Mr. Speaker. That's what 13 years of education reform gets you, all of which opposed by the party opposite.
Well, there we are. I'll be doing my research on these schools. I think you're right. Basically, they are all very marginal former Labour seats. One of which, in fact, is Sedgefield.
Oh.
So the one of the schools that he brought up, I think, is in Sedgefield, previously Tony Blair's seat.
Correct.
Held by Labour for many years, taken by the Conservative Paul Howell at the last election. And he's now got a majority of, 4,500. And this just goes to show why Labour want to weaponise this. It is real life. It's not some technicality thing. It's not arguing over abstracts. Real life things happening in exactly the sort of places they need to win seats.
Yeah, and it's good politics. Some good language there. The sort of cowboys are running the country. That's the kind of... a good broad brush sort of try to catch all attack on the Tories and what they've presided over. Children cowering under steel supports is quite emotive. But yeah, I mean, Sunak has got up with his Weetabix, and Boris Johnson will be sort of stirring and harrumphing if he's listening to this, that Sunak has used Captain Hindsight, his preferred insult for Starmer.
For a long time.
And also, a reprise of the Labour would still have had us in lockdown stuff, which is a popular Tory line. But, the stuff at the end is a fair reflection from the Conservative point of view of what's gone right in education. The buildings might be having their problems, but the Gove reforms have given us the best readers in the Western world, and generally overall, more schools are better than they were. So again, I think that almost was the best exchange of the lot. But I think we're still in sort of score drawy terrain.
It's quite. So I've done all my research. So Wood Green School is in West Bromwich. West Bromwich West. Labour for many years. The Tories took it at the last election. They've got 3,800 majority there. The Carmel College, which Keir Starmer mentioned, Darlington, was held, of course, by who was the MP there? Jenny Chapman. She was the Labour MP, lost her seat, held now by the Conservatives by 3,300.
Yeah.
And Keir Starmer giving every candidate in those target seats a massive.
Well, they're all
stick.
classic red wall seats they need to get back, essentially.
Yeah. Well, so what we're up to, question number 4.
5.
Game, set and match to Sunak, says Kevin. The dreary and dull approach to asking questions was completely demolished by the facts presented by Rishi. Someone else in the text says, please may I have the job of pulling the string that operates Suella Braverman's nodding head.
There is quite a bit of nodding.
There's quite a bit of
She's got her serious face on
serious,
today. This is very grave.
Government is
nod.
very
nod.
right.